in the magazine of modern electronics of the 1970s. You can find it on worldradiohistory.com. I found inspiration for this circuit. They told that you could listen to a coil. And of course, listening means that the frequency that you hear must be in the order of, say, 100 Hz up to 12 kilohertz. But this is also, say, a kind of somewhat other circuit to do the same job. We now have the oscilloscope, and the good thing is that we can look on the scope and we can look on the counter on which frequency the whole thing works. In this case 200 kilohertz. Well, they used in the original schematic a kind of oscillator. I don't know exactly what kind of oscillator they used, but my idea was, well, let me use the, say, standard solar driver, solar IC driver, and here is that schematic. I got this chip from a friend, Björn, and here is the whole setup. It is extremely simple to make. The chip by itself, the Q5252F, is originally a solar IC driver, and when you look on the World Wide Web and on the internet, you can see that here on pin 1, between pin 1 and minus ground, there is a solar panel, and here there is a rechargeable battery. So let me pop it a little bit open. Here is that, say, ID that you find everywhere on the World Wide Web. By the way, often with no proper indications of how to make it. Even, say, pin 1, 2, 3 and 4 are not indicated. So anyway, in my case it is indicated. So I close this book again, because I don't need a solar panel. We only need here a 1.5 volt battery. In that case, the chip driver, the LED driver, starts to oscillate, and the frequency where it oscillates depends on the coil here. So the unknown coil, and that was my idea. Let me try to make some coils and see where it wants to oscillate, etc., etc. I have by purpose used the LED here to see that it works, because when the LED lights up, you can be sure that it works. So here it is, that LED. Can be a bright white, bright red or green LED. And here is the connection to the scope. They are here. So an extremely simple circuit to do tests. And in that old magazine they told very important things. For instance, that you can compare coils. When you have a coil of a certain inductance and a coil of an unknown inductance, you can connect it here to that test circuit and then read on the scope or on the and on the counter the frequency where it works. So you can compare two coils with it. I've not tested it at the moment over and over. This was my, say, final idea to make a very sloppy coil here and look where the circuit wanted to oscillate, and in this case it was say 200 kilohertz. Perhaps it can even oscillate on higher frequencies. I want to try that. of course could be that the whole circuit stops, but anyway, I say pull out the coil now. So here I have pulled out a coil in a very long way, and it still oscillates. So that's a good sign that we have here a properly working circuit, and now it is 190 kilohertz. Let me do another experiment. Take the wire completely out, so that we have here a wire of approximately 1 meter is now connected, and so here is that wire. Oh, well, sorry, takes time. I don't want to do the video all over, so anyway, this is what it is. Does it work? Yes, it works. So now we have that piece of wire here connected to that oscillator, and it works on 218 kilohertz. Well, it shows that we have to do with a very good chip with extremely good properties. I don't look at the waveform at the moment. That is kind of second importance. The fact that it oscillates even with such a piece of wire here means that it works nice. Anyway, tested this coil that I made in the past, it worked. Also tested this coil, it also worked. And strange enough, the secondary of 230 volts transformer, say the 12 volt side, also worked, and it worked on approximately 78 kilocycles. So I think it's a very interesting and good circuit, very usable for radio experiments, comparing coils, etc, etc. You can of course not listen to this because the frequency is far too high. You cannot hear 200 kilohertz. Of course, that's completely nonsense, but anyway, let's go to the schematic again. It is extremely simple, and my first idea was to make it with another chip. I couldn't find it. It is somewhere lost in my stock anyway, but this was my first idea. Of course you can test it. This is also a LED driver, but it is not supplied via a solar cell. I'm more or less sure that this also will work in the same way. I didn't test it, but of course you can test it. So here is that circuit again. The AX8018, etc. Well, pen over somewhat. The coils that I tested are here. The chip is here. It's supplied out of a 1.5 volt battery. It works nice, etc, etc. So take your advantages of this circuit for serious radio experiments, hobby experiments, etc, etc. Thanks for watching.